It's time for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group with certified financial planners Kevin Korhorn, Mike Bernard, and Josh Gregory.
Welcome to another episode of the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group, where every week we're helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. Thanks for being here, friends. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm your host. I'm also one of the certified financial planners on the program. And with me in the KFG studios, my business partners and fellow CFPs, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory.
Hey, there's an old saying that if you wait to have kids until you're ready, then you're never going to have kids. And there may be some truth to that, but that doesn't mean that you can't get yourself more ready financially. So today we're going to be talking about the best ways to plan financially when you're having a kid. We'll cover that and more on today's episode of the Wise Money Show.
Still not ready. Still, like the kids, they constantly remind you that you're not ready.
That's right.
I got a high schooler now, and the stuff we're dealing with, nope, not ready for that. So anyway, if you have a question for the program, we'd love to hear from you. You can call or text us 574-222-2000. That's 574-222-2000. Online, wisemoneyshow.com is where you can find us. And then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. You can engage with us that way. Find us there as well. Josh, you guys really took the family thing by storm.
Yes, we did.
It's a while ago, but my goodness.
And now every stage is taking us by storm. We've got 3 in high school now.
Yeah, gosh.
They're all back to back. We had 3 kids in 2.5 years. So
It's probably not something that you would advise.
A senior and 2 juniors?
We ran into a lady in the grocery store, and she saw our 2 young boys in the grocery cart, and she said, "Oh, those 2, they're not twins, are they?" "No, they're about a year apart." "Oh, yeah, I did that too." And that was a mistake. In fact, I had 3 in 3 years, and man, you think it's a good idea at the time, but it's not. All the while, Andrea's standing there pregnant right in front of her, like, okay, thanks for the encouragement.
Oh gosh. Well, still, what a joy, and yeah, our 3. Kevin's 3 are adults, and ours are high school, middle school, and elementary school. So we've got it spread out, and we're having all the emotions. Either way, however you do it, right? Starting a family is one of the biggest transitions you're going to go through in your life. In fact, there's 7. We've done some work on this in the past, some content on it as well. There's 7 major life transitions that you go through, and especially within your finances. Not everyone goes through all 7, but many people do. And yeah, starting a family is one of them.
Yeah, and maybe there's more than 7, but the 7 big ones, these are points in your life where all of a sudden the game changes for you financially. What was working before maybe isn't going to work moving forward. There's new goals that are established or new pivots that you need to make in your financial life. And it's important to navigate those times well, and certainly starting a family or growing a family. This doesn't have to be your first child that you need to be doing planning for. It could be a second or a third. But yeah, when you're adding to your family, when it's going from you and your spouse to maybe more, man, it's important to get some things in order financially.
And if there is a secret, the secret is plan ahead for each of these transitions. If you wait for the transition to occur and then say, okay, now I'm going to pivot, then likely you're going to be chasing your tail, or many people do get derailed during these transitions. And just quickly, starting a career, so leaving school and starting a career, getting married, starting a family, that's the one we're going to be focused on today. Kids in college, since that is a pivot as well, being an empty nester, retiring, and then being single again.
That's right.
And so, again, not everyone's going to go through all of those stages, but many people will go through them.
But when you say financial planning, a big part of it is looking ahead to the next stages, right?
Absolutely.
Getting out in front of these things, getting some things in order proactively instead of waiting until, oh boy, now we've got 9 months to get ready.
Right.
Oh man, maybe 3 years would have been even better if you had started early on some of the things that you're going to want to have in place. But you take the time that you have, I guess.
And regardless, certainly starting a family, but all of these transitions are going to impact all 6 areas of your financial life. And we're going to break down, help you get proactive. What should you be focusing on? if you're planning on starting a family, or maybe you've got kids that are expecting or grandkids that are expecting, what should they be focused on? But the Wise Money Show is a show about financial planning, looking at all 6 areas of your financial life, not in separate components, but how these seemingly disconnected parts of your financial life are actually connected, and how as you make decisions, you need to be aware of the impact that those decisions will have on these 6 and how to make a positive impact on each. I mean, starting a family, Kevin, let's run around the circle. How's it going to impact all 6 areas of your financial life?
Well, it will have a major impact on all 6 areas. And this is a show about financial planning. So whether you do have 3 years to kind of lay the foundation and start some of the disciplines, or you've got 3 weeks till the baby comes, it doesn't matter. And because we're at the top of the year and looking out, all right, this is a time where lots of people are saying, hey, what should I be thinking about? And really, within the 6 areas of financial planning, whether you're expecting or whether those years are long gone, a lot of the disciplines are somewhat similar. Now, it's the first area is present financial position. When you're looking at having a baby, that probably has a lot to do with the discipline of budgeting and what does my money look like, and how will my income be changing after the baby comes.
I think initially that area is impacted the most, right? And we're going to talk through some ways that you need to approach it, or some disciplines to put in place. But your present financial position, cash flow, and how you're managing cash and debt and all of that, I think that's probably the first kind of shock when you're starting a family. We'll get into it.
And that's important, and that's a skill that you want to keep working on. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would have an excellent budget and no one would ever have cash problems. But the next area is protection planning, and there's a couple areas. When you think of protection planning, think of risk management. What risks do I live with? Which ones do I transfer? And there could be changes likely in your life insurance needs. So in the event that something were to happen to one of you, if you've got a young child and you have unfunded goals for that child, would you have the right amount of life insurance in place to fund those unfunded goals? But it's not just life insurance. You may also be looking at some changes in your health insurance. Again, who's carrying the health insurance? Is that person going to be staying home, or is that person going to continue working? Is there one of the spouses' health insurance that is more favorable to the expenses of having a baby? Mm-hmm. Different types of health insurance. So there's many considerations there. The next area is tax planning. And again, depending on how your income shifts, but there's also likely some credits coming online. And so you want to understand, how will your tax picture be changing, and what would you want to be doing? Maybe up to this point, if you've never had children, you have never really given any strong consideration to funding a 529 plan. Mm-hmm. And in certain states, you can get a really nice tax benefit on your state tax by funding a 529. So that'd be something to consider. And if your income drops meaningfully after the baby, now what should I be looking at? Should I be switching my 401k contributions from pre-tax to after-tax and other things? And I remember Joshua was born in 2000.
Not our Joshua.
No.
Joshua Corhorn.
My Joshua. And there were a couple things. I looked and I said, okay, I would need to save $500 a month if I was going to send him to Notre Dame. And I didn't.
Boy, were you wrong.
I didn't. And I looked at the 1999 results and I said, Invesco Technology did, I don't know, I think it did 180% or something ridiculous like that. And I thought, if I only got half of that, maybe it did 90%. And I thought, if I only got 45, I don't know. It was ridiculous. Needless to say, Invesco Technology did what most funds do after a great year.
But your Joshua is graduating from Notre Dame this year.
He is graduating from Notre Dame, and that's all on him. So that's a huge blessing. So investment planning. If I'm going to be staying home and I've had a retirement plan, what should I do with that retirement plan? Do I do what many folks do and just leave it there, or do I take control of it and get it into my IRA? And Mike, there's more where that came from.
When you have a child, it's going to impact all 6 areas of your financial life. So we're gonna hit a little bit more on that. But then, how proactively should you be planning? Depending on what stage you are in that process, what should your next wise step be? We're helping with that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show. What you're watching right now is our weekly 1-hour talk show. There's right here on this channel, 10 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday morning. Also on podcast at the same time, but also on a couple local radio stations as well, which is why the content's broken up the way that it is. It's a talk show. It's a little longer, and we've got segments and all that fun stuff. If you're saying, hey, this isn't really the right pace for me, that's fine. We've got Next Wise Step videos that air right here on this channel every single day during the work week that take one financial concept, apply it directly to your financial life from a financial planning perspective so that you can take your next wise step in your financial life. So if that sounds like what you need, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you're aware every time we drop new content. Like the content, and you can share the content. You can leave questions as well. We appreciate it. You crack me up, Kevin. I'll take it from you. I'm not just going to let it run. Oh, we're at 11 minutes. I'll just take it. You don't need to translate. I just didn't want you to launch into a story.
No, I'm glad.
Well, if you hadn't glanced at the clock, I was looking for a spot to jump in, and I would have taken us completely past the time. So,
and if Mike hadn't given me the finger, I would have kept. I was rolling, baby.
That's funny. Okay, so I was just glancing at the outline here, and you probably explained this earlier.
Yeah.
I must not have been listening. So we're not going to circle back to the 6 areas again. We're going to go to stages or think more timeline.
No, we are.
Yeah, I'm assuming we will. In that timeline, we're going to be hitting
Which area?
Right.
Yes,
Right.
we're gonna. That's why we're just hitting the wave tops.
Yes. Okay. But it's the timeline that will drive the discussion, not the 6 areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
Okay. I actually like the feel of not having my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just out there, huh? You're not hiding behind a screen.
Nope. Not hiding a ding dong.
You
thing
dressed
here.
nicely for it.
Well,
Big reveal here.
Yeah, I thought I'd really. I got my fans, Josh. I have to keep them pleased.
All right.
Dear.
Did we get the slurp today?
No, I don't think we
I
did.
feel like I haven't heard a slurp in a while.
There you go.
Alrighty. That was
It was an interesting one.
Well, it's not great, but this is typically I wear a dark shirt. I wear all dark clothing so that I can spill all over myself all day, and I can't do that. So
I like that shirt.
That is nice.
Good.
no, thank you.
All right. Here we go. When you're starting a family, financially, yeah, it's going to really change a lot of things. And how can you thrive during that time, though, when many people get derailed or get off track financially? That's what we're helping with right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name's Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is on podcast. Wherever you listen, just search the Wise Money Show. Subscribe to it there. Follow us there as well. We appreciate it. You can rate the program. That is helpful feedback for us. Thank you very much. All right, talking about how to plan if you are expecting, or if maybe your kids are expecting. You've got grandkids on the way. Maybe your grandkids are making great grandkids for you. Financially, I'll tell you, if that's the case, financially it's very different today than it was way back when. Mm-hmm. I just saw, I don't know if you guys saw this, but one of our all-star CFPs, Ben DeBach, posted a chart of what the American dream costs now. Millions of dollars. And I think they've exaggerated some, like a house is going to cost this much, blah, blah, blah. But the 2 kids, I think over $800,000. And who knows?
To raise them?
And who knows how they factor that. But that's in line with what I saw most recently, which a child it's going to cost you around $500,000, 400 and some thousand. Who knows, right? But it's different.
Have you ever seen the numbers on what a family pet cost you?
That was on there as well.
Was it?
Yeah. So what?
I don't remember. What, like a $250,000 or something?
It was a lot. It was a lot. I'll try and pull it up here when we're on the air.
I want to see the numbers on what your adult children cost.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it does seem like little kids, little expenses, big kids, big expenses. I'll tell you what.
Well, regardless, you're having kids, starting a family is going to impact your financial life significantly, all 6 areas. And we started running around the circle, but I want to pivot here because it's obviously going to impact the last 2 areas, your retirement plan, but also in that area, that's where you plan for college as well. And then estate planning, right? Oftentimes, starting a family is that impetus to say, yeah, we finally need to get a will. And by the way, and most people don't think about this, but not only do we need to get a will, but now we need to update our beneficiaries. So many people have those, start families and their contingent beneficiary on their 401k is still their brother or something like that. They haven't updated that. So there's work. There's work that you need to do in the 6 areas of your financial life. When we look at planning for starting a family, it definitely requires being proactive. But then there's different stages if you're a geek like us, and you can sort of break it down. And there's we hope to start a family someday. We just got married or whatever. We hope to start a family someday. And the big idea is about getting proactive. Guys, in this like stage 0, what should you be focused on financially? To me, I first think present financial position, but I think of 2 things. 1, starting to build the skill of budgeting, and 2, being careful about how much debt you take on. Because debt, whether you've got a child or you end up having twins or not, that debt needs to be serviced. The monthly payment is a monthly payment is a monthly payment.
If I was talking to a younger couple, I would tell them, if you're both working, only ever live on one income.
Yeah.
Period. So even if you both have a great income, but I would say lifestyle-wise, only ever live on one. That way, in the event that you decide to have children and mother is going to stay at home to raise them, that is not a financial hardship for you. But it also gives you the discipline of having more money, because it's likely if you have 2 incomes and no children, you've got more money to work with than you've ever had before in your life. And you say, well, what do we do with this? And this is where starting the discipline of saying, I just because I can doesn't mean I should. And so, Josh, we're going to.
Well, no, I like that you went there to encourage people to live off of one income, especially, if you're not yet expecting, you don't have those kids here yet, it doesn't mean you can't live as if you do, right?
Sure.
Begin that dress rehearsal, start living as if you're in that next stage. And as Kevin said, that builds up natural margin, which is going to stockpile cash for you, or it's going to let you do something else that's really great with free cash flow. And that could be not just avoiding debt, but eliminating debt that you already have.
Yeah.
To go into the start of a new family with less obligations, less expenses like a car payment or student loans, or maybe there's some pesky credit card debt that you just haven't been able to completely wipe out and then prevent from coming back. A lot of those are the things that, man, if you've got a window of time to get yourself ready, what could you do now to put yourself in a stronger position so that, what if you decide after you're staring your first child in the eyes, you know what, one of us isn't going back to work, we're going to stay home. That's only an option if you've really planned ahead and put yourself in that position, right?
For sure.
And so, getting proactive, thinking about what would we want life to look like, and building up the reserves, getting the cash flow under control, eliminating debt. Those are 3. Those all fit in your present financial position.
Yeah. I would add 3 things, and one we sort of already talked about, but this is just this has been a while now. Our oldest is 14, but I remember we got married, we knew we wanted to start a family, and we still were driving the cars that we had from college. And so it was, we need at least one safe, reliable vehicle, and so we bought one. and it, of course, had a car payment. And so during the stage before we were pregnant, it was, how can we get this thing paid off as quickly as possible so that we don't have this debt? Because we knew Cindy during maternity wasn't going to have any income or anything like that. So that was one, getting a safe, reliable vehicle, but then also not being burdened by the debt. And that's the first thing. Second thing is we also knew that there was going to be strain upcoming on cash flow because Cindy wouldn't have income coming in for a while, and of course the new expenses. And so we said, well, we really need to prioritize retirement saving. We're young, and we know there's some changes coming, and we hope to just continue to save like clockwork for retirement during that time. But let's really stay aggressive now, just in case that needs to pivot. So that's another. And then finally, we got life insurance in place then as if we had already started a family before that occurred. And part of that was because we felt we were young and healthy. But the other thing is, insurance companies say they've got a way of figuring out, well, as a female, if you're pregnant, your body's changing, but we can still give you, a good rating despite that. And we didn't want to deal with that. We just, okay, we're young and healthy. We want to start a family. So we've changed life insurance a couple times since then as different life changes have happened. But we got life insurance in place as if we were already parents and got the right amount in place.
Yep.
So,
we did the same thing. And partly it was because, at least for me, if I passed away unexpectedly, and on the day I passed away, I didn't even know my wife was already expecting. I could already be leaving behind a young family and not even realize it. And so to me, to plan ahead for, if something happens to me and if I am one of the breadwinners or the breadwinner for a family, what happens to your income, and can the family pivot and still be moving forward with the priorities that you had set? And that's actually one of the disciplines that I would point to if you haven't already started doing this, but you're wanting to start a family. Begin building in the discipline of setting financial goals on a regular basis and revisiting your priorities together.
Yeah.
Because once you have kids, there's going to be new priorities that maybe weren't even on your radar before. Things that you didn't even realize that they were important. How are you going to kind of jockey those into position with all the other things that you have set as goals for life? This is something where you and your spouse need to work out the patterns and work out the difficult, sometimes arm wrestling over which goals are going to take priority over others. That's something to get in place before you have the added emotion of kid-related goals being worked into the situation as well.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, is getting proactive. And so if you know, I can't wait to be a parent. We would love to start a family. And oh, by the way, and no one really tells you this, but you think that, well, when we want to start a family, we're going to start a family. No, God might have a different plan for you. I mean, for us, it took a lot longer, and it took a surgery, and for a lot of people that it's not their, they don't pick the timing on either side, really.
Yeah.
And so you might have a lot more time to prepare financially. You might not have any time at all. But the idea is get proactive and be ahead of the game. That's how you can thrive during that transition and not get financially derailed. All right, so that's the precursor, though. The next stages are, all right, you're pregnant, and then maternity, and then life with baby. We're going to help you thrive financially during those times. That and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. All right, that one I nailed. The first one I was a few seconds off. All right. So third segment.
And you're saying the second stage of planning is while a maternity leave is happening, or in those immediate months after?
So like this wasn't even the first. To me, financial planning, when you're having a child, there's 3 stages. We just found out, so we've got 8 months or 9 months. Mm-hmm. Then there's the maternity, which might not even be that much of a thing anymore, but I'm assuming it still is.
What do you mean?
So you now have some new expenses. Mm-hmm. Baby's on health insurance, you're buying diapers, that sort of stuff. And you might not have all the income back.
Right.
And also because you're on maternity, if you don't have all the income, you might not have all the expense, like childcare and those things. But then after that, then it's the new normal. So you've got these new expenses. Your income might be back, but you might have child care expenses. And so anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's the one-time costs you have to be getting prepared for, and then the recurring costs that will eventually go away.
So, okay.
So where do we want to start?
Well, we'll start at then that first stage, even though we were just sort of the pre-planning. But now you found out you're pregnant. Now financially, what do you need to do? And it can be more of the same, but I got a few comments. And then what not to do as well. I'm assuming we'll spend the most time on, all right, baby's here, and you're in maternity stage or whatever, but as soon as the baby's born, now financially, what's it look like?
Do you have a list of what not to do?
Yeah, but
from personal experience.
Yeah. All right, third segment. Here we go. When you find out you're having a child financially, how do you focus? What should you be focusing on? So again, you can thrive during that time instead of financially get way off track and then end up feeling like, well, we've just squandered some time for some big goals financially. We're helping with that right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Stay up to date on all Wise Money content. Find us online, wisemoneyshow.com, or wherever you're at in social media. We are there as well. Search the Wise Money Show. Talking about what to expect when you're expecting. Financially, how can you get ready, or as ready as possible, when you want to start a family, or maybe your kids want to start a family? And you got to be proactive. So if you think or hope to someday be a parent, even while you're young and like right out of the gate, you just need to be thinking and aware financially. And that helps you with budgeting. It helps you with saving up for retirement. It helps you keep your financial house in order so that when you do have a child, it's not such a big financial disruption. But now let's shift to really the first stage, and that is, okay, we find out we're pregnant. We got 9 months here, or 8.5, or whatever. And financially, what's the focus? I would, again, here start with present financial position, and just through clients' eyes, but I'll tell you our own experience. This is when we then said, okay, I think there was about 1.5 years left on that car loan. And I did the math to say, how do I get this thing paid off within 8 months? Mm-hmm. And so that was one. And then two, we built a budget of, all right, what do we need to buy? You're going to need a crib, and you might be blessed with some showers, and we were, and I remember, some incredible blessings. But there's likely going to be some things that come out of your pocket. So you're not going to need to buy those when there's 8 months left, but you might need to buy them when there's 2 months or 3 months left. And so you've got some time. I remember we built the budget of, all right, this is how much a crib will cost. This is how much the dresser will cost. This is, blah, blah, blah. We need to get ready. And we really built that into our delayed spending, our 3 bank account system, and started saving up for those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever the preparation is that gets you ready to welcome that new baby into the family. And it could be your firstborn. So yeah, you're buying a crib and you're buying all of the new gadgets and the gear that goes with being a parent. But if it's your second or your third, there may still be some short-term goals that you need to get done as soon as you realize, okay, the family's going to get bigger. Do we need a different vehicle?
Yeah.
Maybe the car was working just fine when there were 3 of you in the family or 4 of you, but now there's going to be 5. And do we need to go to a bigger SUV or a minivan or something like that? Those goals, if all of a sudden you find out that the family's growing by 1 or more, and now we have to rush out and buy a vehicle, and there's going to be a new payment, and cash flow is feeling crunched. All of a sudden, the joy of the situation can be distracted by some financial pressure. And so to the extent that you can use all those 8 or 9 months to get yourself ready, of course, we would be encouraging you, make a list of what are those short-term goals. For some people, you may realize, we've been talking about doing something different with our house. We need to be in a different neighborhood because of school systems, or because we need a different house for more rooms, whatever. It may not be an ideal time to be moving while you're pregnant, but it's not necessarily going to be any easier afterwards either, right?
Yeah, we so for the second and third child, we made housing changes. I remember, Cindy, we moved into the house we're in right now when Cindy it was 2 weeks before Kuiper was born.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was
So
rough.
she was directing the movers, not doing any lifting.
Yeah. And then we were looking at doing a home renovation, and then we found out we were pregnant with the third, and I was like, okay, well, that's out of the, there's no way we're doing that financially. And Cindy was like, what are you talking about? There's no way we can't do it, because the renovation was going to expand some things. And now I look back and she was absolutely right. But yeah, gosh, it's a lot financially.
Yeah, and so as you're doing that, you're cleaning up your balance sheet, you're getting your debt in a position that it should be, but you're also looking, especially at your health insurance. So you're checking your health insurance, what it covers for prenatal care and delivery and pediatric visits, but you're also using and maximizing the benefits of either your health savings account or your flexible spending account, because this is where you want to be taking care of any expenses with pre-tax dollars.
Yes.
And that's one piece that I would be thinking about, and the other piece, as I'm thinking about, is looking at, all right, where will I be? Where am I going to be income wise with the credits? Will I be phased out of those credits? If I will, is there anything that I could do right now to adjust my income so that I might not be phased out of those credits?
Yep.
So there's all kinds of really kind of neat proactive things that you could do.
Did either of you guys do, before you had your firstborn, did you do any kind of final vacation while it was just the two of you before kids started coming?
No.
We did a road trip out to Washington, D.C. We'd never been out there before, and thought, oh, well, I think Andrea was maybe 7 months pregnant.
Okay.
So we weren't going to fly, but that was a very memorable trip. Like, I loved that trip. I have great memories from it and everything. We were having a little bit of a baby boom here in the office. A lot of our advisors and other team members are starting families or expanding families, and some of them are doing the same thing. Hey, this might be our last opportunity for a while where it would be an option to go to Europe or to see the West Coast or whatever. So even those types of goals, you might say, well, we need to do the responsible thing and save every dollar for furnishings and debt reduction and all that. Well, there's other parts of life as well, right? There's other things that you could be directing resources to that might not be as practical for some period of time. And don't lose sight of those either.
Yep.
Work those into the budget. And it goes back to what Kevin was saying in an earlier segment, how if you immediately, right out of the gate, start living off of one income for a while, or maybe forever, then you've got resources to be able to do some of the fun things and all the responsible things, right?
Yeah, we did that. We went out west, and we went to Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons and some other places, and that was it was really the easiest baby to take care of for most folks is one that's not born yet. It doesn't wake you. Certainly, if you're the dad, it doesn't wake you up in the middle of the night. And there's lots of other benefits to doing those things while it's just a little bit easier to do.
Yeah. But you want to do those aware financially of how much, and you want to make sure that the trip you're taking isn't using resources that you really need to have allocated somewhere else. So so being proactive, building out that budget, and being aware. And now comes the big transition, right? That's then stage 2 is, all right, baby's here. And this one has an enormous change, because if you did have 2 incomes, at least for a little bit, that's probably changing, right? Whether the kind of the permanent plan is to just have 1 income or go back to 2, during that 3 months, during that maternity, it's probably going to be different. At least for us, I don't, things have changed significantly, but there was no maternity income or anything. So when Cindy was off work, there was no income. That was it. And so that was a big change to income at that time. But that was also a stage when new expenses started. Diapers started, right? That expense started. And, buying new clothes, that started. And health insurance, that was a big one. So, Kevin, you talked about during the pregnancy stage, doing the research to make sure that you're aware of prenatal care and funding the HSA, FSA, all that stuff. You'll also look to see, well, whose health insurance should the child be on, and should we all shift, and so on. Well, now that's here, and unless it's your second child or third child, which is bizarre to me that it's priced this way, your health insurance cost is likely going to go up because you're adding your first child. And so income's gone down, most likely. New expenses have come online, and some expenses have gone up. And by the way, if you have ever felt like, well, we've got some discretion on when we're buying furniture, or I've got choice on when we're buying clothes, as soon as you have that child, our second child was colicky, I would have spent $1 gazillion just trying to find the right gadget or whatever to get him to sleep. And we did. We tried stuff, furniture that just we end up throwing out. And so being nimble financially. So, all right, we've got more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. All right.
Thank goodness that doesn't last forever, huh?
Oh, I felt like it.
Because
but yes,
those are long weeks or months.
He's 12, and he might as well still be colicky. Colicky, just a little grumpy and ornery, opinionated,
just like his dad. Huh?
Yeah,
That's funny.
He needs to be coddled.
Gosh. Okay, so we're landing the plane.
Yep, and so there's a lot to hit here, and
Okay.
then we can wrap up. The final few minutes will be, all right, new normal, life with baby. So there's a lot to hit. I was just sort of scratching the surface, skimming the waves.
Okay.
And I think here there's a lot of make sure you don't do these things. So, all right, here we go.
Yep.
Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. My name is Mike Bernard. Here with me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show, as well as a lot of other content, is on the YouTube channel. Go check it out. Go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to it there, and turn on notifications so you're made aware every time we drop new content, like what you're listening to right now, our talk show. But also, we've got 5 videos all throughout the week that drop, taking a certain or one financial concept, applying it to your financial life. And odds are, if you've got some financial questions, we've created some content to help you with it. So go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to it there. All right, talking about what to expect when you're expecting financially. How do you prepare for starting a family, having a child? What are the different stages, and how can you thrive during that time? So we're into the stage of okay, it's real now. You just had the child. Financially, what do you need to be working on? And was talking about one, present financial position. So managing now, income's probably lower, expenses are probably higher, but then also protection planning, and that is getting the right health insurance in place and managing that expense.
Or having the right life insurance in case something were to happen to one of the parents. All of a sudden, when you have a kid or multiple children, you have other lives that you're responsible for beyond just your own, yours and your spouse's. And there's a very good chance that those lives are going to extend beyond yours. Hopefully, when you're old and gray and your kids are having kids and grandkids of their own, that's when you'll call it quits in this life. But what if tragedy struck? What if something happened to one of you parents, or maybe even worse, what happens if there was some common accident and both parents were gone and you're leaving small children behind? You have to think about those things at least momentarily, long enough to get a plan in place, and then hopefully never think about it again. Right? Because we're talking about plan B, plan C, plan D. This is not where you're wanting your life to go. This is not how you picture life going as a young family. but sometimes tragedy strikes. And so having the right life insurance in place, or maybe it's a disability that causes a shock to the family's income, that kind of thing. How do you make sure that doesn't derail the whole family's financial future because of a bad accident or something like that? And you guys know, Andrea and I were preparing to go speak to a group of young moms at our church. And this was the really fun, uplifting topic that I had picked. And I know it's not a popular one. And in fact, Andrea and I were kind of reminiscing. It took me a long time to be able to get her to talk about estate planning. Like, it's just not something that she wants to dwell on.
Yeah.
And we had 2 kids. They were with one in the oven. Not literally the oven. We had 3 kids basically on the way before we even had our estate plan in place.
Yeah.
I was kind of surveying Jared Moxness, one of our financial advisors. He already had his estate plan in place before they even started having kids. They were planning ahead as if they've already got the family in place. What happens if one of us is gone?
Yeah.
Or both?
Well, so that's jumping from protection planning all the way to estate planning.
Yeah. And the thing that stops a lot of people is perfection is the, there's a cool way to say it, and I can't come up with it, but they want to get it right, and there's no great way to get it right.
Yeah.
So I would say start with something and have something in place. If you do it right, with the estate plan, there isn't really much that should go through the will, but what you do want is to nominate who are the guardians going to be.
That's right.
And it's possible, because the estate plan is for the second death. So it's possible that you're both gone. It's not probable.
Right.
So the likelihood is, in the event that one of you dies, the second one will be around and make decisions and whatever else. So it seems I would say that decision gets elevated way beyond where it should. It's almost like we're meeting with a client the other day and working on their estate plan, and there's always the question in the estate plan, which is, okay, if everyone's gone, who gets the money? Yeah. And I don't know, that one is a stopper too. And I'm like, look, there's really no chance of this happening, so it doesn't really matter who you pick.
Yeah.
But anyways.
No, but it is one of those things, though. If you are the one who defines who's going to care for the kids if both parents are gone, who's going to take care of the money until they're ready, the children are ready to receive it. And you even get to decide at what ages are they likely to be ready to receive it. If you don't decide these things, the state is picking who's going to be the guardian. The state is choosing who's going to take care of the money. The rules of the state automatically, in most states, it's at age 18 that the kids get access to the money. And man, that can hurt a child.
Yeah.
Or a young adult.
Yep.
Getting too much money too soon. And so the estate plan, I say, get Plan C handled. Yes. So that you don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to live in fear or stress, and then get busy enjoying Plan A.
Because you might even say, look, we don't have any money. What do we need a will for to determine where the money goes? Well, if you died in an accident and your estate gets a $5 million settlement, now you've got money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
getting the estate plan in place, and now this isn't something you bring up in the hospital. Men, don't bring this up. Don't bring this up that early. But yeah, I would say it's unusual to do this before you have kids, but certainly within the first year or soon after, you're going to want to get that estate plan done. Still going around the 6 areas of your financial life. We jumped over a couple, and that's fine. But tax planning, we sort of already talked about. Now you know, baby's here. So we're either eligible for the child tax credit, might be having a lot more out-of-pocket medical expenses, so maxing out that HSA or FSA. Whether this influences doing pre-tax or Roth, often, yeah, I mean, if the income is going to change a little bit, because now even if it's, we're going to have less income for 3 months, then your income's going to be different in the year you have the child. And so being aware of that, maybe doing a Roth conversion during that time.
Yep. Yeah. Here's what I would warn against, and this may be really tempting. Maybe it would be necessary. I don't know. But a lot of times when there is a reduction in income or an interruption to one spouse's income, it'd be real tempting to turn off the long-term savings.
That's right.
To pause those contributions to your retirement accounts and everything. And that's why I would challenge you to go back to the very first step that we talked about early in the show about budgeting being one of the very first disciplines that you really enhance. You really get practiced up on controlling cash flow so that you can protect your ability to keep on contributing even if there is a maternity leave with one less income coming into the house, or a reduction forever, maybe going from 2 full-time incomes to 1.5 or something. Whatever the change is going to be, you're still going to have priorities that are long-term that require you to stay disciplined and consistent in your contributions along the way.
I completely agree. And oftentimes it sounds like, well, we just have these really big expenses right now. We're just paying for childcare right now. Mm-hmm. We'll restart the retirement savings back when the kids are in school. I'm telling you guys, the expenses, they just change.
Yeah.
They don't go away.
That's right.
They just change. And so be very, very careful about that. But not only is that something to watch out for, reducing your retirement savings. No, if you're able to plan ahead, then you're able to maintain your retirement savings at a strong level. But the other thing, during this stage, this is typically when you start thinking of college or thinking about that child's future. Mm-hmm. And you start, instead of reducing your savings, you need to keep that where it is, and you actually need to add a savings as well, especially with the new 15-year rule with 529 plans. I'd consider getting that 529 plan open. Kevin, you've said before, you're never more motivated to save for that child's college and future as you are when you're holding that baby. Absolutely. When they haven't been able to talk back to you yet, when they haven't had a blowout diaper, tantrum. When those things happen, you're like, okay, you're on your own. I'm sick of this. But capture that motivation. So, and then finally, guys, I mean, this all leads to then that new normal with baby. And that is more of the same. It's just an adjustment to whether there's income that restarts or not. It's planning out that budget. And I guess the thing that we would leave you with is that's really when that 3 bank account system, that operating system that we've talked about so many times, really needs to be put into practice so that you're planning ahead financially and you don't have cash flow interrupt your other long-term financial goals. So you can do it. You can thrive financially during this big life transition. Hopefully that helps. Work with your CFP for help as well. All right, that's all the time we have for today. On behalf of Josh Gregory, Kevin Korhorn, all of us at Korhorn Financial Group, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Securities offered through Silver Oak Securities, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through KFG Wealth Management, LLC. Doing business as Korhorn Financial Group. KFG Wealth Management, LLC and Silver Oak Securities Incorporated companies are unaffiliated.